worried about who this person's texting. I'm not worried about whose picture they're liking. I'm actually focusing on myself, and I'm gonna give myself that love. Hey sis, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, go ahead and click the subscribe button because I promise you're gonna love it here. So in today's video, we're gonna be talking about a topic that I feel like as women is kind of looked down on or looked at as like a stage of being sad, when really in reality I feel like you could be happy in it and soak in it, and I feel like you can get a lot done in it. And that stage, my friend, is called being single. Now when I say being single, because I know a lot of girls, I was the same type of girl who always said, well, I've been single most of my life, so I know how to be single, not knowing that situationships, even though these men want to tell us situationships, they don't count as relationships. That's a relationship. You don't have a title, but that's a relationship. So I don't care if you was in a situationship, that's a relationship too. I'm talking about being single, not dealing with situationships, not dealing with men for the moment, and just really being with you and actually being happy in that. And that's honestly a struggle. I don't think it's talked about enough of how much of a struggle that is. We're in a generation of, you know, girl power, girl bosses, and yes, like, we're girl entrepreneurs, we can do it on our own, but it is something where we do feel a little bit sad in that. We sometimes feel like kind of like lost, because as a woman, our natural nature is to be with the man naturally, so you kind of feel like a sense of detachment. I feel like when you're not with somebody, you feel like, what am I gonna do? Like, you know, it's a little bit harder to thrive as a woman sometimes, and mentally. We thrive on the outside single. Everything else in life really goes better when we're single, but mentally we feel like, you know, we feel like we're not good enough. We feel like we're not worthy of love. We feel like, well, what's wrong with us? Why don't we have a man? Why can't these men do right by us? And not really taking the time out when we're single to really be like, okay, let me figure out what it is within me. Let me get to learn myself. So in this video, I'm gonna be letting you guys know some tips on how to be happy while being single. And in this video, I'm gonna be kind of talking to myself too, because I'm kind of trying to get into that too, because I'm so used to being in situationships. So for the first time as a 21-year-old young woman, young adult, I'm finally soaking with just being myself. I'm not talking to anybody at the moment, and that's not like I'm purposely doing it, but I kind of am, because I really want to just get to know myself and see how, you know, my brand can grow, how my YouTube can grow, how anything else can grow with me just focusing on myself. So we're going to talk about ways to be happy in that, and maybe this video can help me or you, anybody who's looking for that, because if you clicked on this video, you're single and you want to figure out how to maneuver in that. So without further ado, let's jump right into this video. Separate your mind from reality, meaning separate the fiction from facts. So your mind is probably telling you, oh, you're lonely. Your mind is probably telling you you're not good enough. Your mind is telling you that you'll never find somebody. Your mind is telling you that nobody loves you. When factual, it is, oh, I can get a lot more done with this time being single. Maybe this time will let me be able to learn myself. Maybe this time will let me be able to really figure out what I like in a man. Instead of us as women, sometimes we look at what these men like in us, which is still good, but a lot of times we try to change for the men. But maybe it's time for us to figure out, what do we like in men? When you really ask a woman, sometimes, well, for me, I know when you ask me what I like, it's kind of hard for me to like really describe it, I found. So I'm like, oh, maybe I could use this time being single to really figure out what I like in a man. And you'll stop attracting all that trash when you know exactly what you want. Because you know how these men be so picky, they know exactly what they want. So us as women, I feel like it's good for us to know exactly what we want. So we can use this time being single, figure out what we want, what we like to do for us. Spend this time, you know, being with your friends, giving your friends your attention, giving yourself your attention. I've noticed, like, with me being single, I got so much more. I started YouTube. I figured that out. That's a new hobby. So, you know, get a new hobby, all those things. Try to like let go of those negative thoughts telling you that you're single because there's something wrong with you. And maybe you're starting to realize, maybe it's nothing wrong with me. Maybe this is just my season to really get to know me. Maybe my problem is I don't know myself, so I'm attracting trash. And that's what I had to kind of realize. I was like, why does every single situation I get into always end the same? And you'll notice similar patterns, because every single situation I was in ended the exact same. So I'm like, okay, this can't be just the person problem, which it is a problem with them too, but it has to be something going on with my patterns, because why am I continuing to pick and being attached to these trash? I'm not saying all men are trash. Most men do have some trash tendencies. We're all human, nobody's perfect, but it's a difference when you're attracting non-stop trash. You know what I'm saying? That's when it's like, okay, take some time out, focus on you, you know, let go of those thoughts making it seem like it's something wrong with you. No, this is your time. God is calling you, whoever you believe in is calling you to really sit with yourself, learn what you like, learn new hobbies. This is your time to shine. This is your time to actually glow up. I have other videos on glowing up too, but this is the best time to really focus on you, because you have nobody distracting you. I'm not worried about whose who this person's texting. I'm not worried about whose picture they're liking. I'm actually focusing on myself, and I'm gonna give myself that love. So I want you guys to give yourself that love that you seek in other people, and then you'll get it eventually. But first, give it to yourself. We have to let go of our past self. We have to stop glamorizing our past life, our past feelings, our past emotions, and start glamorizing our future. I struggle with this too, so I understand. A lot of the times we'll glamorize feelings that we used to feel, even if those feelings were trash. Like, we'll glamorize us being sad over a situation. We'll glamorize, oh, I was in this relationship, even though that relationship was toxic. That's all we know, so we'll glamorize it instead of glamorizing the future, saying, okay, in the future my man's gonna be this. I'm gonna have a successful man. I'm gonna have a man with ambition just like me. Instead of glamorizing what we used to have, glamorizing the man that cheated on us, glamorizing the man that made us feel like nothing, glamorizing the man that did the bare minimum. Instead, we want to glamorize what we are going to have. Knowing that you can have it is also good. Knowing that the thing that's coming to you will come to you. A lot of the times in our mind, we think that in our past it's the best we can do. That's why we're so attached to that, not knowing that no, God has more for you. Most of the time, if something doesn't work out, it was never meant for you to begin with. So why am I stressing over something that was not meant for me in the first place? Yes, as women, it's hard, especially with soul ties. As soul ties get involved, you have a mental connection with that, so it's really hard to let go. But I promise you, when you really let go of that, your future feels so much more brighter. It feels like a weight off of you. You have to let that old version of yourself go in order to elevate. You can't have your dream man, you can't have your dream life, you can't have your dream anything, still holding on to the old version of you that felt like you weren't worthy of it. No, the new version of you is worthy of every single blessing that's coming your way. Don't let past relationships with past people who only know the old you, don't let that distract you. Let go and stop chasing. People in general, we naturally tend to chase things that don't want us. The thought of chasing would have to be that person is running. We don't want to go after things that aren't coming after us, meaning we have to meet in the middle. I can't be running, chasing them, and they're walking that way. No. And as women in general, especially growing up as a young adult, that's something I really had to learn, especially in the generation of being delusional is cute. And I used to be like that. I used to think like, oh, like that's my man, he just doesn't know he's my man, this, that, you know, just being delusional. I would think that's cute. I would think that's the way it goes, especially with social media having you think that, when in reality that's not really the way it's supposed to be. That leaves you with nothing but heartache, desperation, sadness. You'll feel desperate when it's like, you know, you're not desperate. It's just this energy that they're feeding off is making you want to chase it, when no, in reality, we are women. We're supposed to be chased. Not saying we have to be too hard to get, but we can't be all up on them. We don't have to be cold, but at the same time, we're not going to be chasing people, meaning don't chase. It'll come to you. So in this time being single, remember that I'm not going to chase after something that doesn't want me. Not saying that I'm not going to allow somebody to come along, but I'm also saying I'm not going to just be so desperate for it. And that leads me into my next segment. In this time being single, we cannot be desperate and cling on to anything and everything that comes our way. And that's probably the hardest thing too, because as people, being alone, sometimes you want to be with somebody. Being alone is never super duper easy. Our minds will always be like, okay, I kind of need that person. Time's ticking. It is no rush. Do not rush. Rushing leads us into a sense of desperation, meaning we're gonna rush trying to get into a relationship, so we'll grab any and everything up. We'll pick up trash and be with it just because we don't want to be single. And you see that a lot, like these men living off these women, these men abusing women, even though that's a whole different topic. I don't want to touch too much on that, but situations like that, a lot of the times it's because us as women, we're so nurturing and loving, we want to kind of fix a person, when in reality you can't fix. They need to come with most of their stuff's intact. Not everybody's perfect. We all have some emotional damage, we all have some trauma, but they can't have all that stuff that you just got to pick up the pieces to a fix. No, we're not doing that. They need to come to you correct, or don't come at all, because we're not giving off desperate energies to the universe. They need to come with something that they could give you. What can they give for me? Instead of them just taking, what can they give to you? In this time being single, you also want to fill your cup up. When I say fill your cup up, I mean really figure out what you like to do. Find hobbies. Figure out what you want to do with your life. A lot of times we'll chase men so much and then look up and realize, wow, what did I do with my life? Wow, what happened to my life? Where did my goals go? And my mom and my family always tell me that. They always pump that into me as a young kid. They always said, never chase a man's dream, chase yours. Meaning, Don't chase after a man and forget your dreams. A man sometimes will drag you through the gutter and you'll forget everything that you wanted to do. You'll forget what you like to do. Being in a relationship in general, we're going to give to our man because that's just what we do as women. We're nurturers. So we're naturally going to give our all to them, meaning it's going to be harder for us to really focus on our career completely. People say you can do both. You can do both, but you're naturally going to be distracted because you're in a relationship. So really pump yourself up. I don't think people understand how much of a responsibility a relationship is. You want to make sure your cup is full before you get in a relationship, not half full, full. So you're not draining yourself by giving so much to somebody else, so you're not forgetting about your dreams and your goals. I feel like I'm preaching right now, but I see so many heartbreaking stories about women who have had dreams, had aspirations, and they let a man come along and it ruined every single thing. So many stories about women who had so much stuff going for themselves, but they put their all and they started loving a man who couldn't give them anything, who didn't have it in them, and it just destroyed them. So we want to look at it like that too. So in your time being single, really realize that all you really need at the end of the day is yourself, and you want to make sure you're giving everything to yourself before you try to give that to somebody else. You also want to understand your triggers. So when I took a step back from situationships, relationships, dealing with dudes, I wrote out all my triggers and all my emotions, and I'll be transparent. One of my triggers was never feeling good enough to be a girlfriend, because I was always in situationships, and that leaves you feeling like, well, why did this person never commit to me? Why did this person never make me their girlfriend? It leaves you feeling like you're lacking. So you want to understand your triggers. So now I know that going into a relationship, a trigger for me will be someone saying, oh, I'm not looking for nothing serious, we are just chilling, we're just vibing. No, I need a man who knows what he wants, and we want the same thing. For some people, a trigger could be someone who's too controlling because they were in a controlling relationship in the past, so they know that they can't do that anymore. Use this time being single to figure out your triggers so you won't make the same mistakes again, please, because it's a constant cycle. It is a pattern, trust me. You go into the same exact thing, you keep running into the same people if you don't change and figure out what it is that triggers you, what makes you feel away, what don't you like. These men always have stuff that they don't like. We can have stuff that we don't like. Make a no list, write out a bunch of no's. I'm not saying be super duper strict, but if you have all your stuff together, you can be a little bit strict. What can they not have? What do they need to have? If that man needs to have a full-time job, he needs to have a full-time job. That's on your list, whatever it is. Make sure that they match what you come with. That's another thing too. Make sure that what you bring, they bring too, because a lot of the times we just let it slide when a man doesn't have everything. We look at it like, okay, well, we could fix him. No, we got to remember, it's not our job to fix people. That's not for us to do. We could add to people's life, but we cannot fix them. We have to remember that. I was trying to do that too. I would try to fix somebody or change them. Be like, okay, well, if I do like this, they'll change and end up being like this one day. No, they're never going to change. When we understand that they're never going to change, they're not going to change if they don't want to change. Someone's not going to change if they don't want to change, straight up. So instead of us trying to get somebody to change, finding somebody that we want them to change, no, find somebody who's already how we want them to be. Point blank, period. Keep yourself busy. That goes along with finding hobbies, whether that be going to the gym, really tapping into your career, really tapping into your goals, tapping into your work. When you keep yourself busy, your mind's not thinking on who did you wrong in the past. Your mind's not thinking on will you ever find a man? No, because in reality, a lot of this stuff does not matter. Life does not stop for anybody. So all this time we waste moping about our past men, all this time we waste moping about not having somebody, we're wasting time we could be spending on ourselves. The person is going to come. God is never going to let you miss anything that's for you. That person is going to come your way. It's up to you to figure out whether or not you're going to be ready when they do come. So in the meantime, we're going to get ourselves ready and prepare for when our Prince Charming, you know, comes swiping up off our feet, because that's going to happen. It's gonna come. I'm telling you guys, it's going to come your way. But dwelling on the past and worrying is not going to help. It's just going to waste time. It's taking time off of time you could be spending focusing on yourself. I'm very spiritual, so I'm a firm believer in knowing that we were all meant to be in this world alone. Family, all that. We're meant to be alone. It's an add-on when other people come in your life. So this is why it's so important to build yourself up first. Dive into you first, because the goal in life is not to have a significant other. No, the goal in life is to be happy. The goal in life is to be successful in what you want to do and then meet with somebody else. Everybody has different beliefs, but I firmly believe in that. When I think about that, I think about how all that time I'm spending focusing on what I lack, I could be focusing on what I want to do for myself, how I want to gain, how I want to enhance my career, new hobbies. We waste so much time, and I'm keep saying it, we waste so much time focusing on what we lack. Relationships that really don't matter, friendships, when at the end of the day, none of that matters. We're all in this world with ourselves. The only thing certain in this world is that you have yourself. We're the only people that we will stay with throughout life. Everybody has a destiny. Everybody has a set plan for their life. It's up to us to really figure out what our life plan is, what our talent is. So use this time being single to tap into that. So that was it for today's video. It was kind of a motivational type of video, a reassurance video, because in social media we always see relationship goals, couple goals, oh must be nice, and I don't think we see enough of self-love and really figuring out what we like to do, figuring out what our career is, figuring out what makes us happy. So I just wanted to give you guys some reassurance on how important that is, and how all this other stuff really doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's just an add-on. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.